Okay, and I'm Steve Sweeney with Trains Magazine Newswire, talking with Trains correspondent Chase Gano. Hey, Chase, how you doing today?
Good, Steve. Good.
And you said just off air a few minutes ago that you're having thunderstorms. How are things there now?
We're doing pretty good. We had a good round at like about 10 till 5 this morning that rolled through, and then the second wave at 7:30, and the third wave after that. It's just
Hmm.
kind of been an hourly thing here all day, but
Okay, goodness.
we're up and running. We have power and internet, so what more can we ask for?
Well, those are good things. Those are very good things. I wanted to touch base with you. There are a lot of things going on in West Virginia these days. Everything from declines in coal traffic to rebuilding Western Maryland Scenic to a new company taking over on the West Virginia secondary line from Norfolk Southern. So I wanted to start. Which of these things are hottest and most talked about in West Virginia right now?
Steve, I would think that the Watco transition, we're less than a month away now from Watco beginning their
Hmm.
operations on Norfolk Southern's West Virginia secondary line.
Right.
And through social media, we've seen a lot of talk about that lately. Mainly, folks curious, what does it mean for operations? What can we see in train count? I
Hmm.
know job postings are big right now, so a lot of folks that were with Class Ones, and folks that are with Class Ones, are evaluating the possibilities and what
Really?
opportunities is to go to Watco.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. Now, I thought that working for a Class One railroad was top of the pecking order as far as railroading is concerned, and you're telling me that guys from Norfolk Southern and CSX want to jump to Watco?
Well, I think there's this idea of having a consistent work schedule right now
Hmm.
amid the coal fields where coal volumes are down on lines owned and operated by CSX and Norfolk Southern.
Right.
So there's that uncertainty, and a lot of folks have been put in positions where they have to travel for work, especially as positions are consolidated. So I think that the idea of a consistent, reliable position, Monday through Friday type
Hmm.
work schedule, if you will, something that they
Sure.
can plan and have a dedicated vacation. I think that might be a favorable alternative at this point, just because our crews and districts have been consolidated and cut back so much on the Class One side.
Okay. And that sort of dovetails into to coal traffic. We know that it used to be big. I mean, track after track, train after train running coal from the mountains down to the seaport and then elsewhere in the country. What is traffic looking like right now?
Traffic, we're seeing pretty steady declines over the
Hmm.
past several months, but lately things have seemed kind of stable. We haven't had additional declines. Volumes seem to be about the same as
Okay.
they've been. We haven't had any major mine closures or any cutbacks from any railroads. Uh, the AR, the Association of American Railroads, recently released their weekly data that talks about coal volumes and all the different commodities, and coal's down 20%, but that's not
Hmm.
as much as it's
Big.
been. So, we kind of see it steadily out here a little bit, kind of flatlining, and we'll see how the weather is this
Hmm.
summer and what that means for utility coal. But export levels around here seem to be really stable. It's, of course, nowhere like it used to be,
Hmm.
but we haven't seen any more big hits, big blows to the industry that decrease that trend count any more than it already is.
Sure. As you look at, I happened to be down in southwestern Virginia, about a couple hundred miles south of you last July, and what used to be a conveyor belt, a railroad conveyor belt of coal down around Norton, Virginia, was silent. As an observer in West Virginia, what does it look like? It's not the conveyor belt certainly, but there are trains moving. How often? How heavy? How frequently?
Things are consistent at the customers that are still online.
Okay.
Uh, my guess, looking at the industry and following it, seems to be that the contracts that
Hmm.
are here to stay, multi-year contracts, and you're seeing consistent unit trains in and out of those facilities, and those are dotted just throughout different corners of the state on CSX and Norfolk Southern.
Okay.
So I think that's here to stay. A lot of that's utility contracts for the Carolinas, and some of it is still export related. So customers internationally. So I think that what's here is here to stay, and then what we've seen kind of decline has been just as a result of market conditions and the steel industry. With that kind of flatlining at this point, I think we'll continue to see those contracts fulfilled, and what new opportunities exist down the road. remains to be seen.
Okay, okay, sounds good. And then I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about Western Maryland Scenic. Now, they've got two things going on. They're trying to rebuild a gigantic steam locomotive at the same time that they're trying to rebuild the railroad from landslides earlier this year. What can you tell me about either of those two projects?
Well, 1309 is really moving forward. I
Mhm.
think that project's going to get a big boost this year, as we've learned with the grant from the state of Maryland, money appropriated from the governor's budget to restore that locomotive to operating condition. That's going to be a huge, huge contribution for them, a huge financial source there that'll get that engine up and running for what they say will be next year now. Really, we're hoping to see that the landslide issue related from earlier this year is resolved. Because that's Frostburg, and having access to that is such a critical link for that railroad.
Yeah,
And
Frostburg, Maryland, right?
Frostburg, Maryland, correct? Yes. And they've been federal crews, officials with the Mine Bureau of Maryland. They've been in and out of there very regularly on a daily basis, from my understanding, over the past several weeks and months, evaluating that and making those necessary repairs to bring that line, restore it completely from Cumberland, Maryland to Frostburg, Maryland by late summer. So
Outstanding, outstanding.
we're hoping that's, we're kind of getting some more information out of there that will kind of pinpoint exact dates soon, and hopefully we can share that as soon as that information becomes available.
Okay. No, it sounds good. Now, you've also been reporting recently from Cass, West Virginia, and from Cass Scenic Railroad in Durbin and Greenbrier. What's going on with those guys?
Things are very busy. They're doing their first doubleheader this weekend. So
I heard that.
so many passengers, almost 200 are reserved on a train this weekend that requires the use of the extra cars, and that will bring on the second locomotive. So it'll be good to see recently restored Cass Scenic Shay number 2, Pacific Coast Shay, that was
Very nice.
recently featured with the Day with the Shay Trains event. And so you have a doubleheader up to Bald Knob, and that'll bring additional ticket sales because people are just so impressed with seeing two of those engines pushing that train all the way up through the switchbacks into Bald Knob, that I think that'll drive some additional ticket sales for this weekend.
Outstanding. And what else are you looking forward to for this last full week of June coming up?
Well, hopefully some clear skies a little bit would be nice. It's
Okay.
rained here for 3 days, but I'd like to get out and take a little bit of pictures if we can, see what's going on. It is, like I said, with the Watco transition coming, days of seeing the NS trains roll up and down through my hometown of Nitro, West Virginia, they're getting kind of limited, so you
Right.
might try to focus a little bit on that and see what's going on and take some pictures.
No, it sounds good to me. Sounds good. Well, Chase, thank you so much for sharing some time this afternoon. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me, and no problem at all.
All right, we'll be talking soon.
All right, take care.